Hello everybody, how are you? I hope you had a great weekend. It's Sunday here, beginning of a new week here in Oman. I know that there's so many different things going on in the world right now, and most of it seems really negative. And I kind of want to address that a little bit today. It's easy to get really frustrated with the job market now because most countries are experiencing economic crisis. With the riots in America and the other things that are happening throughout the world, and the GCC, I do know for sure Kuwait and Oman are starting to send their expats home. People are losing their jobs, or maybe your wages have been cut. These things are going to build a lot of pressure, and you're going to be looking for work outside. So fortunately, I'm not in that position yet, but it doesn't mean that it might not happen in the future. Okay? So I do know that the educational industry, teachers are probably either, like me, a little bit more comfortable in your positions, or you're scrambling to send CVs to every school you may feel that you fit into. Especially as most schools have gone digital, as ministries of education have not yet posted when school will begin again this academic year. So you're probably scrambling thinking, oh my goodness, how can I do a digital video? I don't even know how to operate most digital applications. I know Skype, and that's about it. It's really good for you guys to learn Zoom. Zoom is like unblocked worldwide right now. So it's like the perfect thing to get practice on, and it's free. So that's one note that you might want to do. All right? But regardless of that, there are some things that I've decided to tip you on to help you land your job. So I've been working in education for almost 20 years, and I've been through, I'll tell you, many interviews, and I've done many interviews. And these types of things, I can't guarantee that you'll get a job. I am not intending to upset anybody. I'm not being racist. I'm not being cultural biased. I just want you to know right now, these are just tips that I've used in the past and what I've seen people use in the past, which really makes an employer go, wow. Okay? So these are things that you can use that might help you to get over these humps that everybody seems to be going through right now. Okay, so I'm going to go through them one by one, but I'm not going to spend too much time on one slide because it's a really long program. And I am doing it in stages, and I will put the whole script on my LinkedIn after I'm finished, okay? So, things that you have to remember. Number one, if you've sent your CV and they have not responded, it's either you didn't get shortlisted, or number two, it's very possible your CV got lost within the hundreds or to thousands of CVs the school has received. Now, a little school like mine, I only have 25 students, and I receive maybe 10 to 15 CVs a day. That's a lot for 25 students. So if you are applying for one of those top international schools, you can imagine that they are receiving maybe 10 times or 20 times the amount that I'm receiving. All right? So the school maybe received it, but they haven't had the chance to look through it. And it's overwhelming because you've got so many things you have to do other than look through CVs. So it's important to do something. Even if you applied online, you think, oh, it says I have to apply online and blah, 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 blah. Okay? You should contact the school if you're really interested in working at that school and you've done your research at least a couple of days afterwards to help them remember who you are. Okay? So I'll talk a little bit more of that a little bit later. An example that I wanted to say though is that yes, one time I got offered a contract and I counter proposed, and then I didn't hear back from them except for the fact that they would think about it. Okay? And then I let it go. And I let it go. And I let it go. And then finally it was gone. So you do have to call and you have to follow up, and it's very important. Okay. Number 2, make sure you apply for jobs that are exactly as what the job is posting. You must look at if you are qualified for the position. Do you meet all the prerequisites? Do not take it to cart if your country is not listed. This doesn't mean no way that you're racist. Ministry of Manpower, especially in Oman, and Ministry of Labor in Oman have certain restrictions on which cultures they can let into the country. Okay? It has nothing to do with anything else. If the CEOs generally know, and then they pass it on to the principals to look for people, or the HR in really big schools to look for people from these certain countries. It doesn't mean that if they didn't say that America is not included, because I've had some that are like that too, okay? It doesn't mean that you're not qualified. It means that that country has the maximum of Americans in their country, and they cannot bring any more Americans into the country. That's what it means. Or there's civil unrest in your country, and they don't want to bring any possible exposure to their country. Okay, so there's a couple elements that you have to remember. It's not because you're not qualified. It's not because you don't speak English. It's not because you don't speak English well. It's not because of any color issue. Because you have to think, if it was really a color issue, then those people that live in America and Canada and UK and usually the countries that are listed, they do have diversity there too. So it's not what you think. It's because there are certain conditions that the government sets on the schools and says, hey, you have enough Americans in this country, you need to bring people from other countries. If there's enough Africans from this country, in this country now, it's time to bring people from Russia. You know, so we don't have any control over when there's a limit set. We have to put in the ad what it means when it says in the ad, and that's the reason why. Okay? All right. If you're overage, it's another reason. Like, okay, usually, like in Oman, if you're like 60, they say they don't do any more visas. And there's a reason for that. Because even the Omanis retire at 60 here. If Omanis are 60 years old, they're retired. So when you're retired, usually when you're retired in most countries, you have higher medical bills, you have higher health issues and this type of thing. And they don't want to bring that into the country. So that's why there's age restrictions in most countries. But once you're in Oman and you're working and maybe you're 59, 60, before you become 60 and you're here in the country, you can stay as long as you want, as long as you have a job with a certain school. But once they stop you, you have to reapply, and that's when they may not allow you to stay. And do not think, remember, you are sending your CV to a top school. They're going to have thousands of applicants. They're not going to make an exception for you. It's not personal, it's just that you do not match their requirements as closely as someone that would probably do so. So don't think if it says, oh, you need 5 years of teaching experience and you need a master's degree, that you're going to get in with 10 years teaching experience and a bachelor's. They're just not going to do it. They're not going to hire you or even look at your CV because you don't meet the exact requirements they're looking for, and there probably is someone that does. Okay, the only reason they would call you is because they think that you're less experienced and therefore they can get you for less money than someone that's got the exact qualifications. And you don't want a lesser salary. You want to be treated like everybody else, right? So try to apply for something that you are qualified for. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and we're going to continue.